I know. Which you want to go for?
Lillian, tell you about my grandfather, Wilfred.
Our grandfather, Wilfred, came from Blackburn to Tramore. As far as I remember from my mother telling me, it was in 1922. And he used to rent a bit of ground, and the main thing that he did was a spinner. A spinner, which you had like a machine that flashed the names of horses. You bought the tickets and you won a prize. And he did that for about 3 years, and then he moved his family to Tramore about 1924 and started Wilf's Amusements Arcade.
And so his wife was also English?
Oh, his wife was English as well, yes. She was.
Our mother was English.
Our mother and her sister were born in England, and they had a brother and a sister that were born in Ireland. And actually, the youngest, Mrs. O'Reilly, that had all the holiday shops, she only died on the 1st of April this year. She would have been 89 in the summer.
And then did you also then, as you were growing up, did you have an English home?
No.
That you went to?
No. He emigrated completely to Ireland.
And what was he, what did he like Ireland? You know, the people that came over first?
Yes.
I think the money was good.
So he borrowed the money, basically.
I think so, yeah.
And did he ever talk about that as regards?
Well, I didn't know my grandfather.
Well, they say
that's why I got
to. Would your dad have said that the Irish are better for?
My dad was from Cork.
Our father was from Cork. It was our mother's side of the family that were in the amusements.
And so what was their name?
Eden. And there's only two Edens left in Ireland.
There's two of
our cousins.
Our first cousins. Well, he done all types of things. He had a small truck and he done things in the winter, you know, to try and keep going. As my mother said, they used to break up cars, old cars, and look for the brass and stuff like that off them. And in my dad's time, my dad used to sell fish in the winter, and then they used to do spinners. They went into the barracks and they done a bazaar. We went up to Cork and we done a bazaar. And there was a time then that a canteen and done more for when the herons were good.
So you were a very versatile family.
Yes.
I think everybody was those days. Everyone had to go and look for extra things, you know. But the main thing in Tramore, to me, would have been the Atlantic Ballroom and all the big bands that came, and then the train. The train would arrive on 7 o'clock at night. It'd be full, and loads of people coming down the road, and Tramore would come alive. So it was, and we all remember better weather as well. There was much better weather years ago. But
And did you say that you used to feed the bands for the?
Yes.
Lillian would have.
Eventually my father built this in concrete blocks and put 6 bedrooms upstairs. They were the first in Tramore to have a wash hand basin in the bedroom. There's no such thing as ensuite. But before that, there was a jug of cold water and a basin in the bedroom for everybody to wash. And there was probably one toilet. Like, my mother had a guest house down Tivoli Terrace at one stage, and we could have anything up to 30 in it, couldn't we?
Yeah, one bathroom for everybody.
One bathroom, yeah.
So there was a queue in the morning for the bathroom, not for your breakfast.
But
I never liked it.
We had a 60-seater restaurant
upstairs
over the arcade with a lovely balcony on the front of it that you could sit and have your food and watch the sea. But we had a contract with the Atlantic Ballroom to feed all the bands, and there would be 2 sessions, one from 9 to 12 and one from 12 to 3. And we knew all the bands of the 60s, Dickie Rock, the Cadets, all of them ate in our place. And our father, God be merciful to him, used to sit there chatting to all of them.
The winning number is 4.
would they even stay over, or would they just go back?
Yes, yeah. The odd ones would stay with us, usually on a Sunday night, because a lot of the bands wouldn't work on a Monday. But Tramore used to open 7 days a week in them days. And there'd be queues from 8 o'clock at night waiting for the door to open. It'd be right down like as far as here. And the same for the late session. The first session would finish about 20 to 12, and the second session would start at 12 to 3.
Yeah, that'd be only for the race week, for the real busy time.
Busy
you know,
time of the year.
Wasn't right throughout the summer, like, you know. But like, you had the big bands, then you had the likes of Joe Loss and big.
Yeah.
The man from Clonmel, what was his name?
Oh God, Mulcahy, was it? No.
No, it was Mulcahy.
No, it was a big orchestra.
And you had
Phil Murta was the one that my mother used to always talk about. They used to do the full season
but that was the Silver
in
Slipper.
Tramore. No, that was in the Atlantic.
Was it? The Atlantic?
Yeah.
And like, you had big stuff in the Silver Slipper as well. Like, I mean, John Lodge was the man. John Lodge owned the disc ground. Disc ground
Yeah.
here. Bought it off my dad. And my dad bought it off of him. And he owned it across the road. And he owned a lot of the stuff.
This big lodge is the shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
The hardware.
He had gold crust in Waterford and a bucket factory. He was a big businessman. But he gave everybody, the likes of us, a start, and a lot of the other people that are still there.
Yeah.
They all dealt with Mr. Lodge, and he was a very nice man. He used to do a big fancy dress at Christmas for the town, didn't he?
Yeah.
And everyone would be down with their fancy dress, bring all their children, and he'd present the prize himself and the wife. So it was, it was.
And who owned the Atlantic when we were young?
Old Miss Piper. Well, it was her daughter actually.
Yeah.
Lily Barry. She was married to Dave Barry.
Dave Barry owned it.
Yeah. They owned it.
And then you had the American man bought it.
Fuller.
Yeah, Bill Fuller.
Bill Fuller bought it.
And
later.
he sold it then to the man who put amusements in, and he sold it on again. He sold it to Freddie.
Well, I'm just saying, there'd be a small community of people, business people.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Bikers, yourselves. There's only like a handful of people.
Sammy Saunders would have owned it, the
Strand
Amusements when we were young. He was
all
married
the
to one of
Pipers.
Morris's.
You had all the Pipers next door, Johnny Piper, and all his family. There was a big family lived right next door there.
And they lived in the caravans all
They
the
lived
time.
in the caravans.
They were the real old shoal people.
Yeah.
And you said that you lived very close to here as well.
Well, we lived in a house at the back of the arcade here for a while. We lived in Tivoli to start.
Yeah. And then our father built a
Then
house.
we built a house here. But like, it's a lovely place to be, like, you know what I mean? Because you could get up on a nice summer's morning and go down for a swim and come back and have a bit of breakfast. Like, you know, Tramore is really it's a fantastic place to live.
And
Right.
after the second session at night, all the staff of Strand Road would go swimming. 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. And we'd often end up in the shelter across the road after getting a cone and McCoy's, the chipper.
Billy McCoy.
That was the main chipper on Strand Road in them days.
So is that kind of tradition that you used to go for a swim after the...
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, sometimes.
Until Jaws came out, and then we started
Sometimes.
shouting Jaws. We decided we weren't swimming at that hour of the morning anymore. But the water would be lukewarm in them days, like, you know.
Yeah, and I suppose as it comes in, it gets warmer as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And come here, just about your own childhood. Like, what's your earliest memories of, you say, growing up? Like, well, if you go first, what was your earliest memory of Tramore growing up?
When we lived in Tivoli, we had just up and down. You'd always come down Strand Road, even as a child. 4-year-old, 3-year-old, you were left out. Whereas nowadays you're not. Like, I went to school on the train into Water Park, and I think I was 6-year-old, and it was a steam train, and I remember it changing over to diesel. You know, you just woke up one morning, the diesel train was there. But
And why did you go to Waterford and not the CBS?
because my mother And father decided that they'd send me, and then they realised it wasn't worth their while, so they sent me to the street. I ended up in the CBS after that. They're the same brothers anyway, in Waterford and in Tramore CBS. Yeah, the same crowd. But I think someone paid for it, was it?
Yeah.
Lillian's
Our father
really
was in the English Navy during the war. He was a stoker on the battleships. He was at the battle of the sinking of the Bismarck. But he was discharged out of it 6 months before the war finished with TB and on full pension. And they paid for the children to go to school. So that's why he did a bit of time in Waterford and I did a little bit of time in the Ursuline.
Well,
I finished my school here in the CBS.
Yeah. And just to go back to your dad and TB, how did you, TB was a very serious thing back then.
Oh yeah,
A lot of people died from TB.
Well, it was the cancer of today's world. He was in dry dock in Plymouth and he was told he had 48 hours to bring our mother home. He was going back into full service. And they hadn't time to give him medical before they left Plymouth. And he went to Sierra Leone. And they took him in to give him a medical immediately when they got there. And he was diagnosed with TB. And he said he kissed the doctor. And the doctor looked at him as if he was a mental case. Because he said, I'll get over that, he said. But he said, I could be blown up in the morning. And they sent him back to England and he was in a sanatorium in Southport for 6 months and then he was discharged and he was cured. Yeah.
So, that was very interesting life you had there.
Oh, absolutely. God, brilliant. Our brother, it's his birthday tomorrow, the 1st of June. And Wilf was 7 and I was 9. And he was born on the Tuesday of which weekend. And on the Friday morning, my father said to me, tell that nun you won't be back till September. You have to go to work tomorrow. Because our mother couldn't get up for 3 weeks because she had varicose veins in her legs. And I was sent down to the OK Cafe across the road, which was our grandparents, with a big rusty key and 10 shillings in a paper bag for the bank. And I worked the whole summer and that was my life, working life started at 9 years of age. At 13 I was taken out for a day. We had the canteen in Dunmore East and the day they opened it, it was very busy. And my father came up to school and said to the teacher, Lillian will be back on Monday. And I'm still waiting on that Monday. So we had a very colourful life.
So it was all hands on deck?
All hands on deck.
So you were working from a very young age?
Oh, absolutely. Well, tell about the fish.
Well, everyone down here sold fish in the winter. My father had a fish round, And when I left school, he gave it to me. And it was good money. I could make good money for one day. Like, you buy your fish in Dunmore, you can buy 9 boxes, 5 full cran of fish for £1.50 or £3 would be the dearest. And on your day's work, you get near enough £28. So that was back in the 60s. That was a lot of money for the one day, but sure. Then they changed it. They told the Catholics they could eat meat on a Friday, didn't they? So the market collapsed. But myself and Lillian would, when my father arrived home, he'd send us off out to knock to the neighbours to know would they buy fish off us, which wasn't too nice. Wasn't a nice thing to have to do. But sure, you had to do things.
Would you be self-conscious about the fact that you were involved in the down around when you were young? Or were you kind of proud? Which one was it? What was it like?
Well, you're only children. You played down around. We all came down to play around here. We all, you got a chip or something, and then it was just everybody was down around. Everyone went down around. That's what it was. As I said, the life was down here with all the big show bands, with all the stuff happening. There was loads of people, all the country people come in, all the Waterford people. You know, there was a lot of excitement in Tramore years back.
And then you were saying that the training, I mean, I presume that would bring a big influx every time training arrived.
The 7 o'clock training before, and the town would come alive then. That was it.
So the pubs would do well, the arcades would do well, chip shops, everything.
Yeah, it was all centred. People travelled on the train, and going home the train would be chock-a-block. Now that would be just the old steam train, because she could carry up to near 1,000 people, I think. So she could haul people in and out, whereas when the diesel came in, I think she was restricted to 200 and something people. So it was basically the beginning of the end when they changed from steam to diesel. You know, but yeah, the centre of things on Strand Road was mainly the train coming in and the excitement it created, and the ballroom, the excitement, the two ballrooms. You had the Silver Slipper and you had the Atlantic.
And do you know tricks of the trade? Like, I mean, you must have been, because you were working from a very young age, you kind of learned things as you went along from your parents,
absolutely.
from different people that worked with you. I mean, what kind of things would they be passing on to you to watch out for, or keep an eye on this, or keep an eye on that? What kind of things do you remember?
They wouldn't really educate us in that way, would they? No. We were always taught
Same as
to
everywhere you
respect people, and when you were in business, my mother used to always say to us, you don't spend anything till everybody is paid. And religiously she would go around, because you have to remember when we started here, Tramore was only 3.5 months. It usually was open the week before Whit, and you'd finish the middle of September. And she used to teach us that you went round to all the companies you dealt with and paid everybody, and then what was left. And they used to say, for the winter then you might be all right till November, December at the latest. And then you had to work the bazaars. Like, we would have remembered going to Cork, and they worked with the AOH hall on Morrison's Island. And they'd have a huge spinner for Christmas, and the Pongo, a few slot machines, a roulette table. But like, I went to work every Friday night from the time I was very young.
They done the bingo, when the big book bingo came in first. My mother and father done that in Kilkenny.
Yeah.
But then it's the people, you know, that were doing it took it over themselves, because book bingo was easy to do, you know. But it all.
But they'd work with the committee. Like, a lot of the time when we were young, they would have worked with the barracks in Waterford for Christmas. I can remember the Teddy Boy era, and a big fight when our uncle was with us, Bobby Eden. But, you know, it would be huge. And when, well, first time I remember, I was about 3, and they went to Tralee for Christmas and rang a big bazaar.
That was with the Grand, was that that was with Bobby, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was with a GA club. Now, probably the Tralee GA club, I don't know. But they used to give live turkeys for prizes every night. And you'd see the people walking out with a bit of string with their turkey.
Lillian also travelled with Perks.
Yeah, when I married at first.
Yeah, she travelled.
Where did you travel?
All over Ireland.
All over Ireland, yeah. Kilkenny Beer Festival would have been huge. It would be about 2 weeks, and Fawcett's and Perks would be there. And the German Beer Festival, all the German bands, huge festival.
And what were you bringing around last week?
Well, Perks at that time, the dodgem track, the cherry planes, they used to do a raffle every Friday night for a bullock. They had a little hut where you sold the tickets, because it was all the country farm towns, you know. They would have travelled from April right up to November.
That's class. And then would you have gone around to, like, even country fairs and stuff?
Oh God, yes. Puck
Well, I
Fair
didn't.
and all of
Lillian
these.
did. I didn't.
Puck Fair and all of them. And I was the spare driver. They'd only 3 drivers and there was 3 lorries and they had a jeep and a car as well. And I had a full licence. A couple of times, once in particular, one of the lorries broke down and they ran down for me and coupled the jeep onto it, and I pulled the lorry, the plates for the dodgems, the cars for the dodgems, and a big wagon at the back of it.
And that must have been unusual for a woman in those days.
Very unusual. But we were driving. I got my full licence when I was 17, the day I was 17.
Everyone did.
Yeah,
None of us done a test.
no.
We just handed the full license with all the letters.
Our father, when he was 13 and I was 15, was going to buy a new car at the end of the season, and from the start of the season he'd make us drive it from outside the arcade to the bottom of the pram and back up again. By the time it came to September, we were both fully qualified to drive.
And
Yeah.
just to go back to, I mean, did you know, like when you went to school, did you know, like this, I have, you know, do you know what I mean? Like you knew really where your destiny was going to be in the sense of in the business.
Yeah.
We both left school early.
Yeah.
Robert's done full school. But like I was gone 15. I done my intern. But I didn't do a leaving. I don't know, did you?
I never did an exam. The first exam I did in my life was when they brought in that you had to do an exam for hygiene if you were handling food. And I did 6 weeks of 4 hours every afternoon in the tech in Waterford. And then we did an exam at the end of it. And that was the first exam I did, and I was, in my 30s. So, but your education is your life, really.
But you were you happy enough where you were heading into the business?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose you were given a lot of responsibility very early, weren't you?
Well,
But you knew how to make money.
how
You know what I
old
mean?
is-
If you ran the joint, you had to show a profit. You had to bring it to give it to your mother, or you know. So
There was no such thing as not opening. The first year when my father and mother decided they were retiring, and they gave us this between the 3 of us to run it, the ASB used to go on strike July and August, and we had to make a living, so we had to open the place no matter what. And my mother and father were on the bus coming out from Waterford. They'd left the car in to be serviced, and there was 3 women in front of them, and one said to the other, "Are you going out to Wilf's?" And she said no, because their ESB is on the hours, like they want. Oh, they said no problem, Wilf is open. He took the roof off the Pongo and he has the car connected to blow up the balls. And my father said to my mother, well, if they have that much initiative, they're well able to run it. And that's what we did.
yes, would you try it?
I was a trial, but we were the only arcade open on the road.
So you use
Then
natural
we,
light.
we did. But then you wired it all up to a generator.
Yeah,
It was
you,
like-
you just
It's like a
As you said,
service.
like-
Keep going.
you had to
Oh,
get-
absolutely.
It's part of the way things had to be done years ago.
And what about things like births, marriages, deaths, all those kind of stuff? How did you manage to keep the whole business running at the same time?
We closed this place the time Mary used to look after us, Mary Dunphy.
Yeah,
And when Mary died, we closed this place for 2 days.
for respect.
And the same for
Same with
your
their
dad or your
mum and
mother,
dad.
you know. But
And any-
that's all you do, like, I mean, you have to show respect to people that you know, you know.
All marriages with September. This one
Yeah, there's no
next
one- no
week
one-
is the first. Is the first one is going to be on while the place is open.
Yeah, there was no...
And all the
Change.
and all the christenings had to be done before we open for the season.
yeah,
Get it out of the way fast.
Yeah.
that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really funny. And then would that mean that you'd always, if you're going to go on a holiday yourselves, it would always be September?
September.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there was
Never.
no time off.
Oh, there's no such thing as going. I mean, nowadays the place is open all year round, but you know, in them days it wasn't.
But I mean, they get nights off. You know, like, we didn't get nights off for the summer. We get a very odd
We
night
worked
off.
the 4
You had
months
to
of the
work,
summer.
like, you know.
When I was getting married, I asked my father, could I have 2 hours off in August? And I was told I could go from 2 to 4 and be back. And that was it. I'd say they really told me this place.
And do we have a jackpot winner?
The size of it, I think we're done.
We're going to have to go. They have to open. There's customers.
Yeah, they're
That's
going.
really funny, isn't it? We're just talking about the show. Hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, but just to finish up, just say something about maybe, just about your own impression of Tramore and all that kind of stuff. Just about growing up here.
Better luck next time.
I think Tramore is maybe, the people that live in Tramore are very, very friendly people. They welcome in other people much more than other places. I think that's, to me, is what
Definitely.
Tramore is about. Very nice people. That's where I would go.
Yeah.
And the walks. You have fantastic walks and people talk to you. You know, you walk down the prom, people stop you and talk to you and things like that. To me, that's what I would see about
They'll always
Tramore.
talk about the weather,
That's what I would see about
especially the good sunshine we've had the last few days.
Well, Lillian, you obviously take this song. You like the song.
Well, I do actually.
So, I mean, what about you? What's your, having grown up here?
It's a beautiful place to live. It's a lovely place to bring up children. As we've said, when we were young, you went out from the time you were very little. And you worked from the time you were young.
Yeah, and you're two really hard-working people, obviously, right? But, and that whole idea of making money and trying to make money in a place like this, are you optimistic for the future of Tramore?
I think Tramore's come on a lot. You go down, I know the emphasis shifted from this road to the end of the prom. But the end of the prom is an exciting place, a lot of people in it. So I think Tramore has come
extended.
on. And it is extended, and I think Tramore will always thrive. We do need maybe a hotel and maybe a bit more accommodation. But once we get that, I think Tramore will take off.
Yeah.
That would be my opinion.
So you think a place like this will always reinvent itself?
Yeah.
But life goes full circle. I mean, when I was young, Wilf the same, you couldn't have walked on that road, especially the 15th of August. I mean, people were coming in horse and carts and everything else, but again, there wasn't the
And the
transport.
buses, you had buses coming from all over Ireland for the Sunday, and they all parked at the end of the prom.
Just turn it off.
So there we go. That's us.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Okay.